Did you know there's still a place where volcanoes shoot fire into the sky, where you can roast marshmallows over glowing lava in the morning and swim in sapphire jungle pools in the afternoon? A land where ancient Mayan spirits still whisper through smoke and stone, where the shortest women in the world carry centuries of tradition on their backs and lead entire villages. This isn't fantasy. This is Guatemala. Are you ready to explore? Guatemala, more than 30 volcanoes cut across. One of them, Pacaya, still spits glowing lava into the sky. You can feel the heat radiating from the rocks beneath your feet. The next is Lake Atitlan, a mirror of sapphire ringed by volcanoes in Mayan. Aldous Huxley once called it the most beautiful lake in the world. Head north to Petén. The jungle here is thick, hot, and unforgiving. You'll find ancient temples clawing their way out of the earth. Tikal, Uaxactun, Yaksha. Semak Champe. It's remote, rugged, jungle roads, natural limestone bridges over electric blue water, cascading down in tears. Now let's talk about climate. The highlands? Cool, spring-like. The jungles? Hot, humid, sticky. The coastal lowlands? Tropical, salty, a little bit seductive. You can surf in the Pacific, swim in a crater lake, hike in the clouds, and then fall asleep to the hum of the jungle, all in the same week in Guatemala. And yet, this land hides shadows too. Natural disasters happen. Landslides, earthquakes, hurricanes. And infrastructure? Sometimes a shortcut means dodging potholes the size of bathtubs for hours. Women are, on average, the shortest in the world. Roughly 4 feet 11 inches, or just under 1 meter and 50 centimeters tall. That's a curious fact at first glance. Maybe even endearing. But like a lot of things in Guatemala, it holds a deeper, harder truth beneath the surface. Yes, there are hereditary factors at play, especially within the country's deeply rooted Mayan populations. But what's often left out of the conversation is malnutrition, chronic poverty, limited access to clean water, diets too heavy in starch and too light in protein. In some rural areas, girls still grow up grinding corn by hand before dawn, carrying younger siblings on their backs by mid-morning, and helping at the market in the afternoon. Low wages and limited health care have consequences, and one of those shows up in height charts. Step into a Mayan market and you'll see these women, wrapped in vivid huipailis, patterned skirts that map their ancestral lineage. They're thriving in their own way. You'll spot them balancing woven baskets on their heads like it's second nature. They'll haggle with vendors in Spanish, flip to quiche for a neighbor, and whisper a prayer in Mam before tucking a flower into their child's collar. Their beauty isn't the kind that strikes you in a selfie. It's the kind that lingers when the moment's passed. And some men who come here feel that pull, not just physical, but emotional. In certain villages, you'll find something unexpected, matriarchal micro-societies, places where women run the show, the books, the schools, and sometimes even the council. Have you ever had the chance to meet some of the shortest women in the world? If yes, comment with the number 3 or feel free to share your thoughts with us. The Mayans were not some forgotten people buried under jungle vines and dusty museum plaques. They were engineers, astronomers, architects, linguists. They may have built the oldest known water filtration system in the Western Hemisphere. Using a type of volcanic mineral called zolli, they crafted a system so effective that modern filters still use it today. Long before indoor plumbing, these folks were figuring out how to make dirty water drinkable, with materials we still rely on centuries later. Many Guatemalans today still speak Mayan languages, Quaiche, Quyechi, Tsutujil, and carry traditions that haven't skipped a generation. It's not unusual to walk through the markets of Chichicastenango and hear 3 languages in a single conversation: Spanish, a Mayan dialect, and the silent rhythm of barter and gesture. And while the Spanish conquest was brutal, and while the classic Mayan cities did collapse, probably from drought, war, and inner conflict, their culture didn't vanish. In some villages, people still place corn on the ground during ceremonies and pray to it, because in the Mayan belief system, corn isn't just food, it's sacred. According to the Popol Vuh, the Mayan creation story, we were shaped from maize, so every tortilla, every grain, every harvest, it's spiritual. Walk into a small ceremony in the highlands and you might smell copal incense burning, hear prayers chanted in a language you can't place, and see an elder trace symbols into the ash with a stick carved 2 generations ago. Most people think of culture as something in a museum, but here in Guatemala, in local Mayan villages, it is still common to find people wearing colorful native outfits that vary according to the village and linguistic group. They're called traje típico, and they carry the story of who you are and where you come from. Each village has its own patterns, a sort of visual fingerprint passed down from mother to daughter, a living language made of thread. Some patterns represent mountains, others rivers. Some are drawn from animals, or spirits, or legends older than any flag. And they're hand-woven. That takes time, it takes skill, and it takes pride. Something you start to notice once you've been around a while. You might wander into a village where Spanish isn't the main language, and it can throw you off, but pause before you panic. Because that language you're hearing, it might be Kaiche, or Tzutajil, or Kuanjobal. Languages that predate colonial borders. Languages that carry concepts Western tongues don't even have words for. Some Mayan communities still practice Tzaite seed divination. Tiny red and black beans tossed in red like ancient runes. A spiritual GPS system used to decide everything from when to plant crops to when to get married. And then there are the cofradías, religious brotherhoods that guard the sacred shrines and rituals. You won't find them on TripAdvisor. They're secretive, symbolic, often syncretic, blending Catholic saints with Mayan cosmology. Some Mayan villages believe that cameras can steal the soul, so leave the drone in the bag and ask before you shoot. Life in Guatemala is full of challenges and beauty. However, it faces significant socio-economic issues. Let's explore with us. But first, take 5 seconds to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell.
400. I remember very well.
About 60% of the population lives in poverty. A family of 6 living on corn tortillas and coffee every single day. About 30% of the population is illiterate. Roughly 16% suffer from chronic malnutrition. Corruption seeps into everything from elections to electricity bills. The public healthcare system? Underfunded and overwhelmed. You'll find modern clinics in private cities, sure, but in rural areas, sometimes the nearest doctor is a radio call away. They're not always in charge. In some zones, they defer to the gangs, or worse, work beside them. Average monthly income? Just under $400. Many survive on far less, scraping by on informal jobs, remittances from relatives in the States, or selling handmade goods in markets saturated with the same products. But people still smile at you, offer you fresh tortillas without asking your name. Singing karaoke under rusted roofs like the outside world doesn't matter. And your money stretches here. Rent is cheap. Food is local. Transportation, though rough, is budget-friendly. A decent apartment in a safe area might cost you $300 a month. Street food meals? $2. You could live here comfortably for less than $1,000 a month. Would you be willing to accept these inconveniences in exchange for such a low-cost lifestyle? If yes, comment with the number 1, or leave a comment to share your perspective if you have a different opinion. For those who come to work as embassy staff, pharmaceutical industry workers, multinational corporation employees, Guatemala can offer a unique and enriching experience. If you're American, you get 90 days on arrival. You can extend it once, giving you a solid 180 days total. After that, you'll need to cross a border, usually Mexico or El Salvador, and re-enter. This border run trick is common, but don't abuse it. Eventually, immigration might raise an eyebrow. If you're thinking long-term, look into temporary residency, which can be granted through retirement income, work sponsorship, or in some cases, starting a small local business. But be warned, the paperwork is slow and you'll need patience or a good fixer. In Guatemala City, you can find a clean, secure apartment in a decent zone starting around $300 per month. The expat favorite neighborhoods, Zone 10, Zona Viva, Zone 14, or Kaila, are more polished but come with a price bump. In Antigua or Lake Atitlan, prices creep higher, sometimes double because of expat demand and gringo pricing. Still, compared to rent back home, it's a bargain. Tourist zones and middle-class areas are generally safe during the day. But Zone 1 in the capital? Sketchy after dark. Guatemalan women are known for being warm, family-oriented, and deeply social. They value respect, humor, and consistency. They're often more traditional than what you might be used to. Courtship here takes time, and family approval matters. So yeah, if you show up flashing cash and looking for short-term fun, don't be surprised if you get ghosted. Or worse, labeled a predator. But if you show up with humility, curiosity, and real intention, you might find something more grounded, more meaningful. The predominant religion in Guatemala is Roman Catholicism. However, Protestantism is increasing and could become dominant by 2030. Step into almost any village and you'll see the signs of the old world and the new gospel clashing and blending. On one side of the plaza, a 16th century colonial Catholic church, built on top of what was once a Mayan ceremonial site. On the other, a neon-lit Pentecostal megachurch, speakers blaring with music that sounds more like a concert than a sermon. And yet, neither is complete on its own. Because spirituality here is layered, Christian on the outside, Mayan at the core. Walk into someone's home, and you might find a picture of Jesus next to a bowl of corn and a candle lit for an ancestor. Locals burn candles for saints, while whispering prayers in Quechua to the mountain spirits. They bury statues in the ground to bless crops. They ask the winds for permission before entering sacred caves. Of course, the rise of Protestantism has its tensions. Evangelical churches tend to reject traditional rituals. They call Mayan practices pagan. Some families split along those lines, grandmothers keeping the old ways, grandchildren drawn to flashy new doctrines and strict codes. But that's part of the broader truth. Guatemala isn't frozen in the past. It's changing. Every village, every generation decides how much to hold on to and how much to let go. Let's zoom out for a second. Strip away the poetry, the paradoxes, the pulse of ancient rituals, and lay down some plain facts. Guatemala, officially known as the Republic of Guatemala, is a country full of life and diversity in Central America. Population, around 18 million people, making it the most populated country in Central America. Capital is Guatemala City, crowded, chaotic, and surprisingly modern in parts. Spanish is official, but over 22 Mayan languages are actively spoken. Currency is quetzal. $1 gets you about 7.8 quetzals. Main exports are coffee, bananas, sugar, corn, textiles. Geographically, Guatemala is smaller than Pennsylvania, but feels much bigger. Why? Because terrain rules everything. Mountains, jungles, volcanoes, rivers, coast, there's no flat here. Every journey is uphill, downhill, or winding between. Climate? Totally depends on elevation. Antigua and the highlands? Spring-like all year. Petén and the lowlands? Hot, sticky jungle fever. Pacific coast? Tropical and humid. Chicken buses are iconic, colorful, cheap, and reckless. Uber works in Guatemala City and Antigua. Tuk-tuks rule the villages. Long hauls? Opt for shuttle vans or private drivers if safety matters to you. Public services are inconsistent. Power outages happen, water gets shut off randomly, banks close early. And yes, sometimes your visa paperwork disappears into a bureaucratic black hole. But that unpredictability is part of the draw for some. The rawness, the spontaneity, the challenge of figuring things out without Yelp reviews or a safety net. We've explored 8 amazing facts about this incredible country. If you enjoyed the video about Guatemala, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Your support is the driving force that helps us continuously improve and bring you even more engaging content. Thank you, and see you in our next travel documentary. We are so glad you are with us today. Please leave a comment, like the video to support us, and subscribe for more videos. See you soon.